The iPhone XS was released back in late 2018 for $1,000. But how does it hold up in 2021? And is it still worth buying in 2021? Well, let's find out. Yo, what is up guys? My name is Aaron and I do tech reviews here in this channel. And if that's the stuff that interests you, don't forget to subscribe. It'll really help out this channel and it'll also help me to provide more content for you guys. So let's get started. So this is the iPhone XS. And this phone was released back in late 2018 for $1,000. And it's actually my girlfriend's daily driver. She was kind enough to let me use the phone for about a week now, and I was curious to how it would perform in 2021. So today I'll be covering a lot of the major details of this phone and share my thoughts on whether this phone is still worth it in 2021. First, I want to talk about the design. And honestly, there's not much to say. It's a design that we're all familiar with, and it works. It's a great looking phone, it's sleek, it's minimal, it's clean, and for those of you that prefer compact phones, I think this is the one for you. The XS just feels really good to hold in the hands. Apple has never really took huge leaps when it comes to design, and I like the fact that they always kept it true to the original. It's a safe, clean, minimal design that I think a lot of people will enjoy. Overall, I think it's a great looking phone, but I think where this phone shines the most is the build quality. The phone is encased with stainless steel, which you can feel around the edges, followed by glass in the front and the back panel. And I have to say that this thing is built like a truck. You don't know how many times I've seen my girlfriend drop this phone on hard concrete, you name it, and it's still rock solid. I even encouraged her to get a case for this phone and she still refuses to. So if you guys are the type that gets clumsy with your phone and you don't want a case, look no further, this is the one. Now as for the display on this phone, it's actually quite impressive. As a dedicated Samsung user, I was kind of spoiled with having great displays and I didn't really have high expectations for the iPhone XS. But this one actually surprised me. The phone comes with the 5.8-inch OLED display and produces bright, vibrant colors. This is my work phone, the iPhone 6s, which has an old LCD screen. And I believe the OLED display was first introduced with the iPhone X. And just comparing the two now, it's a night and day difference. Yeah, you can say Apple was a bit late in the game, but they have it now and it's pretty good. Oh, and by the way guys, the phone does have a 120Hz refresh rate, and that's always a good thing. The combination of the OLED display and the 120Hz refresh rate just made it a very enjoyable experience. I was really impressed with the display on this phone. Now as for the performance of the phone, the iPhone XS is powered by a 7nm A12 chipset, which was one of the most powerful chipsets at that time, and it still is. And one thing that I always applaud Apple for is that they always offer a smooth, consistent, snappy experience. And it's no exception here. The phone is still buttery smooth and I didn't experience any lag or jitters. While I'm not a mobile gamer, the XS performs pretty well when it comes to gaming. The quad-core GPU paired with the 120Hz refresh rate should offer a smooth gaming experience no matter what you throw at it. And we have to remember guys that this was a $1,000 phone like not too long ago. Also the fact that this phone has a lot of upcoming updates and that iOS has been very smooth as of late, I don't think you have to worry about the longevity of this phone. Now as for the camera on this phone, it's just average, but the phone did come out back in 2018. The main camera is running a dual 12 megapixel camera capable of shooting in 4K at 60 frames a second, while the front camera is running a 7 megapixel camera capable of shooting in just 1080p up to 60 frames a second. The performance of the camera is not the greatest, but still performs exceptionally well. The selfie camera on paper is lacking, but it shouldn't be an issue for many of you. They both get the job done, but don't expect great detailed photos, especially in low light situations. And I forgot to mention that the phone does come with 4 gigs of RAM, and you have the option to choose from 64 gigs, 128 gigs, or 512 gigs of storage. Overall, I think the iPhone XS is a solid phone, even in 2021. It has a great display, it's snappy, it's responsive, and the build is top notch. The camera is not the greatest, but it's perfectly fine for an average user. And even though this phone came out back in 2018, trust me, it is no slouch. It's still a beast to this day. However, with all that said, the phone's not perfect, and there are some drawbacks to this phone that I think you guys should be aware of. And the first issue that I have with this phone is the battery life. And I don't know if I'm just spoiled by the battery life on my Note 10 Plus, but I just found the battery life on this to be a little lackluster. It's packed in a 2658 mAh battery, which is fairly small, but again, this is a compact phone. The A12 chipset does help the small battery on conserving battery life, but I'm not confident to say that it will last you the whole day. And that might not be a big deal for some of you guys, but for me, battery life is really crucial, and it's almost a deal breaker. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like terrible, but just don't expect the battery to last you all day on a consistent basis. Another issue I had with this phone is that there's no fingerprint sensor. And I know that's not a big deal to some of you, but a lot of these phones these days come with both Face ID and Touch ID. I personally use the fingerprint sensor over Face ID on my Note 10 Plus because I just find it more convenient for me. So it's kind of a bummer that Apple didn't implement both Face ID and Touch ID on the XS. Now the last issue that I have is not the phone, but the current prices of the phone. Prices are all over the place right now with this phone, but you can find them anywhere between 300-ish to 400-ish. And I think it's just a little bit too steep when you compare it to other competitors. For example, you can get a Samsung Galaxy S10 for much cheaper. It's a newer phone, it has a bigger battery, it also has a better camera. Overall, it's just a better phone at a better price. If you can snatch an iPhone XS in the low 300s, I totally recommend it. But anything higher than that, it might just be a little too steep. So, is the iPhone XS still worth it in 2021? And should you buy one in 2021? And my answer is yes, only if you can get it for a good price. If you guys can find an iPhone XS in the low 300s, I think this is a fantastic option. And it has everything you want in a premium phone. It has the build quality, the display, the performance, the camera, everything you want in a premium phone, this has it all. However, I will say that the battery life could be an issue for some of you, so just keep that in mind. Anyways guys, that was my review of the iPhone XS in 2021. If you guys do currently own this phone, let me know down in the comments below. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. So if you guys enjoyed this content, don't forget to sub, drop a like, leave a comment. I'll always appreciate your support. Anyways guys, thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!